Waddle then gobbled for the gaggle and then made way for the President of the United States.
The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
I like when he takes us inside his relationship. Darling, why do you throw up when I open my robe? What are you doing, darling?
Kim Jong-un has state stenographers who follow him everywhere and scribble his genius ideas into their notebooks and applaud. Well, Republicans, that's you now. Republican Congressman Addison McDowell wants to name Dulles Airport after Trump. It'll be like other airports, except the international terminal only has departure.
Nobody thought today would turn into the kind of moment people end up replaying for years, but somehow it did. Jimmy Kimmel and Bill Maher teamed up and fired off a wave of jokes at Trump so powerful it felt like it could light up the Vegas Strip. Even the camera crew started breaking into laughter. It was harsh, ridiculous, and strangely satisfying all at once. There's one moment in particular the internet keeps looping non-stop, and once we get into it, you'll understand why. So let's jump right in.
It's not like Trump doesn't care about people. I mean, he has a lot of empathy. He's feeling especially bad right now for the family of the newly decrowned Jeffrey Epstein pal, the now former...
Jimmy bursts into the scene like a bolt of lightning ripping through a circus tent filled with inflated confidence and half-finished ideas. The air tightens the way it does right before something big goes wrong in a disaster movie. Trump stands right in the middle of the chaos he created, holding onto bravado that looks more like a broken umbrella than anything useful.
And the governor is a big fat slob.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I mean, seriously, though, he says a lot of crazy stuff. In that same press conference, he said there have been no murders in Washington, D.C. in the last 6 months because of him. There have been 62 murders in Washington, which already indicates a vivid imagination. But does he really look at himself in the mirror and go, I am thin? I am so thin, I can comment.
Bill steps in with the confidence of a man who suddenly found a treasure chest full of every political mistake Trump ever made. Trump tries to strike a mighty pose, but everything around him feels like a cookie falling apart in someone's hand. Bill's timing turns the whole moment into a scene where the hero keeps shouting, "Everything's fine," while the background clearly burns down.
There's also a bill in Congress to add Trump to Mount Rushmore, because like Washington, he's a patriot, like Teddy Roosevelt, he's a renegade, and like Abraham Lincoln, he's not really helping the theater scene in Washington. Yeah, the Kennedy Center is not something I really care a lot about, but I do care that an American president doesn't see anything wrong with him personally taking it over, or that his communications director, Stephen Chung, said it was justified because Trump, quote...
Jimmy comes back like a blinding spotlight that refuses to turn off, revealing every crack Trump tries to hide. Trump's expressions shift so fast it looks like he's cycling through masks backstage at a theater. Each new face shows more confusion than control. Jimmy leans into the absurdity until the entire scene feels like a stage performance that accidentally drifted into comedy.
And then the president pardoned the birds as only he can.
It looks like a rather violent bird. It's hard to play. Anyway, are you ready? Beautiful. Right, nice. You are hereby unconditionally pardoned.
There you go. All right. No. In 6 months, when they're indicted for crypto fraud,
Bill steps forward as though he's giving viewers a guided tour through a museum of presidential blunders, each one painted with broad strokes of chaos. Trump tries to keep that royal posture going, but a small tremor betrays him before Bill even finishes his sentence. Bill turns it into slow-motion opera, dramatic, messy, and unintentionally hilarious. The whole room starts buzzing with comedic tension.
Republicans dance like Trump now. They name weapons systems after him. They've even dressed like him with the trademark suit and tie. Available exclusively at Banana Republic. Yeah, all these super macho guys eating the ass of another man. Some even talk like him now, with the crazy over-the-
Jimmy shifts the focus to Trump's latest attempt to look in command, a performance wobbling like a statue someone forgot to tighten. The irony grows thick enough to feel. Jimmy sharpens each moment with humor that cuts right through the pretense, melting Trump's attempts at grandeur under a steady spotlight of mockery. Bill swoops back in and highlights how Trump moves like a director trying to run a movie no one else agreed to shoot. Every gesture seems improvised by someone who skimmed the script. Bill twists the awkwardness into gold, turning Trump into the star of a spectacle powered by oversized confidence and confused theatrics. Jimmy builds on it, describing Trump's stage presence like a dramatic reenactment playing in exaggerated slow motion while the audience waits for applause that never comes.
So Governor Pritzker, if you're listening, let's get your act together. Invite us in. I had a little bit of a Pritzker joke. I was going to talk about Pritzker and size, but when I talk about Pritzker, I get angry because he's not letting us do the job. So I'm not going to tell my Pritzker joke. They have a very cute little joke, you know. Some speechwriter wrote some joke about his weight, but I would never want to talk about his weight. I don't talk about people being fat. I refuse to talk about the fact that he's a fat slob. I don't mention it.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or short-term memory loss. Either way, he really captured.
Bill keeps the energy blazing, describing Trump marching through his own mess as though he's walking through thick fog with no idea where the exit is. It's bold, chaotic, and unintentionally funny. Jimmy follows by pointing out every beat Trump tries to hit, each one more off-key than the last. The performance balloons into something wild, with cracks widening as Trump tries to keep up. Jimmy turns each detail into a burst of comedic fireworks. Bill returns like someone announcing a plot twist meant to be serious but ending up hilarious. Trump's attempt at gravitas wobbles like a chandelier hanging by a thread. Bill lets the irony drip in slow motion, turning the whole scene into a buffet of humor.
Waddle then gobbled for the gaggle and then made way for the President of the United States.
The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐿𝐸. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what.
Jimmy paints Trump's latest attempt at control like a performance inside a hall of mirrors where nothing looks exactly right. Every reflection is off just enough to be funny. Jimmy stretches the humor around the moment like a too tight ribbon. Bill builds on it by comparing Trump's choices to puzzle pieces that simply don't fit, no matter how confidently he forces them. Jimmy highlights Trump's tendency to overdo every dramatic gesture until the scene spills over into pure exaggeration. Bill jumps back in with humor that makes Trump's attempts at grandeur look like scenes from a historical drama missing half its props.
Prince Andrew in the UK has had his royal title stripped away because of the Epstein scandal. I know you're close to the royal family there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation. And it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for the family.
That family he feels bad for. The ones losing their food stamps, they're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. This is like Bill Cosby feeling bad for all.
Bill describes Trump's gestures as if they were taken from a script written during an all-nighter fueled by too much caffeine. The rhythm jumps, stalls, then speeds up again, creating a roller coaster nobody meant to build. Jimmy analyzes Trump's shifting expressions like someone trying to juggle flaming torches without admitting they're burning. Bill elevates the theatrics into something fit for a velvet curtain stage, where the pose is dramatic, but the floor is collapsing under it. Jimmy makes it bigger, letting the scene swell like a balloon nearing its breaking point.
The reason Gretchen Whitmer looked like a toddler playing peekaboo in the Oval Office is she's afraid of the Liz Bratts of the world and the 12 social justice warriors on the internet and what they might tweet to their 7 followers. Alyssa Slotkin calls her party weak and woke. She's right. People vote on instinct. They can smell fear a swing state away, and they'd rather have strong and wrong. Having sex with Stormy Daniels was wrong, but Trump didn't hide.
Jimmy draws attention to the confusion swirling around Trump, sparkling and scattering like glitter thrown into a storm. Bill follows by turning Trump's decision-making into a walk through a hallway of funhouse lights where nothing lands where it's supposed to. Jimmy compares Trump's confidence to a stage prop that keeps tipping over. Bill imagines Trump as an orchestra that turns up the volume every time it loses rhythm, creating a chaotic symphony of overacting.
Prince Andrew lost his royal status. He's been demoted to, I think he's the Archduke of Frimplepants now or something. Trump's claimed that he doesn't know Prince Andrew, and yet there are dozens of photos of them together. Here's just one of the many. I don't know if, what happened to Andrew in that photograph, but here's one of then Prince Andrew walking away from Trump. And look who else is in the picture, peeking in from the corner. You got convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, who Trump wishes well and just had moved to a much more comfortable prison. And then lurking in the background, none other than Trump's BF.
Bill lifts Trump's missteps into a series of clashing moments, all trying to take center stage at the same time. Jimmy returns to the image of Trump trying to steady himself on shifting sand, each wobble revealing more comedy than control. Bill shapes the chaos into a forgotten play being performed for the first time. Jimmy compares Trump's reactions to a flickering spotlight in a high-budget show. Bill wraps the whole week into a dramatic production overflowing with misplaced intensity.
Quite the opposite. It looks like he said to the photographer, "Widen that out so you can get these tits." He's got his mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. He's literally got a guy working for him named Big Balls. It's like if Gavin Newsom had a henchman named Perfect Hair.
Jimmy tightens the chaos into a whirlwind Trump can't quite escape, turning it into a towering monument of messy theatrics. Bill frames the moment as the opening chapter of yet another chaotic spectacle. Jimmy describes Trump holding himself together like a cardboard cutout in hurricane winds. Bill shapes the moment into a cinematic shot filled with irony, everything around Trump bending under pressure.
According to the Washington Post, since Trump installed himself as chairman of the board back in February, ticket sales at the Kennedy Center have taken a nosedive. So far, the Kennedy Center has only sold 57% of their tickets, which is down from 93% at this time last year. Everything he touches dies. Good news, Mullah. The lack of ticket sales hasn't discouraged the tantrum of the opera one bit. He took a break from posting photos of the new Lincoln toilet to brag about his new Trumpified Kennedy Center. He wrote, "It is really looking good. The exterior columns, which were in serious danger of corrosion if something weren't done, are completed and look magnificent."
Jimmy rides the wave, describing Trump's stance as something caught between grand drama and accidental slapstick. Bill molds the scene into a storyline where Trump looks torn between two roles he never rehearsed. Jimmy highlights the cracks spreading through Trump's performance like fractures in a statue made of unstable ambition. Bill builds the final swell of humor into a cliffhanger waiting for the next dramatic collapse. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more sharp commentary, smart analysis, and moments that cut through the noise, make sure you hit subscribe and join us here on Jacob Reports. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. There's a lot more coming, and you'll want to be here when the next story breaks.